everyone. Welcome back to NCCE live from NCCE. Ooh, you see how it goes back and forth, back and forth. I'm so excited you guys are here to join us tonight, this evening, wherever you are watching from today. We have the amazing Jeff Bradbury. Just kind of being silly about his name because I was talkative about it. But super excited. Jeff's here to talk all about sharing, SharePoint, and all that amazing stuff. And I know I have a bunch of questions, so I'm sure you guys do too. And I'm excited to get them answered today. Jeff, how you feeling?
I am doing wonderful. I am so excited to be here. We're going to be talking all about SharePoint. What is it from the ground up? And at the end, you guys are all going to be qualified to create the district intranet of your dreams. Stick around. We got a lot of great stuff live from NCC. But the most important thing is, Holly, where are you right now?
Well, I love being on location and showing that it's super easy to be able to join in and watch live from NCCE anywhere. So I've done it from the baseball field, from my kitchen while I was cooking. But today I'm at the rec center and my son's having basketball practice. So get to enjoy this amazing Florida cool weather. We're not cold anymore. We're cool. So that's where I'm at.
Very, very cool. Are you ready to learn all about SharePoint?
Yes.
All right. So first of all, welcome everybody to Live from NCCE. My name is Jeff Bradbury. I am a proud Microsoft innovative educator, expert, and a Microsoft trainer, and a proud member of the NCCE family. Check out all the great stuff that they're doing over at ncce.org. They've got a fantastic conference coming up in just a few weeks. Check it out. There's a lot of great stuff, and learn how you can have NCCE come out to your school district and work with you guys today. Lots of great stuff. We're going to make sure that we have all the stuff in the chat and in the links below. Today, we're going to talk about SharePoint. Now, the first thing that you might be asking yourself is, what is SharePoint? I've heard of it. Here's how I explain it. In my position as an instructional coach for digital learning, I have a school district of 13,000 students, about 1,300 adults, and we are right now in the process of moving from a Google school district into a Microsoft school district. We're introducing Teams, we're introducing Microsoft 365, we're introducing OneNote. We are bringing everybody into that purple side of education. And one of the questions that they keep asking about is, what is this SharePoint thing? So let's kind of go over how it relates to some of the things you might be familiar with. If you look at Google, Google's got something called My Drive, right? These are documents that I own, I have, I'm the owner of. I can share it with you. I'm still the owner. And they have something called shared drives or team drives, which is the organizational based things, right? I don't own it. The organizational owns it. Those are two relatively similar things. It's a folder that has some kind of an ownership or permission or something. On the Microsoft side, we have OneDrive. That's the personal, cloud-based, safe, secure hard drive system. I own this document. I've created this document. I share this. Above all of that stuff is SharePoint. SharePoint is the online file cabinet that the organization owns. Okay, it's not owned by the individual. It's owned by the organization. But that's just where it starts. SharePoint is so much more. Whereas with Google folders and files, like a shared drive is really just a hard drive, a folder. SharePoint is what we're going to find out a lot more. Let's see what we have here. As we can see, we've pulled up my SharePoint file. And you're going to notice here, it says sites. Well, SharePoint's a lot of things, right? It holds information. It holds registry information about users. It holds websites. It holds data, much more than what you would just see on the Google site, which of course is, Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. SharePoint is a very safe, secure monster of a hard drive that does a lot of stuff. Teams is the visual representation of SharePoint. So if you think about it, every single team is a SharePoint website. And every single team adds files into a SharePoint hard drive, and every single team is create it with a safe wall around it. So that way, those people who are in the team, only those people who are in the team, can see the files, the folders, the OneNotes, all of that stuff is safe and secure. And that's how we've spent the last 6 months creating our school district. And I'm going to give you a little peek at the end, so stick around as we go through. But let's start at the beginning. There's 2 things I want to show you guys here when it comes to the beginning of SharePoint. Obviously, the first one, we talked about the file structure. We don't need to spend time on that. You know what a file structure looks like. But the other thing here is a SharePoint website. Okay. Now, SharePoint websites come in a variety of flavors. If you're in Teams, you might be familiar with a website that looks like this. This is actually the website from my TeacherCast Educational Network team. You can see over here, it breaks down into conversations, document, my OneNote, pages, a variety of different things that SharePoint creates. And over here, we have a news section. We have activities, meaning these are the different files that we have. And then we have quick links and then documents. And I'll tell you right now, these folders here under documents are the channels in my TeacherCast team. So as you're making a team and you're adding channels, each of those channels is actually a folder in a SharePoint website. Now, I can dive into, let's say I can dive into this one and I can see that there's other files and other things that I can create in here. And that's awesome. SharePoint is one hub for all of your digital safe and secure needs for an organization, for a team, for a group of individuals, etc. down here. Now, this isn't all that it can be. You might be looking at this and saying, but Jeff, it's kind of, yeah, right? It's not a lot happening here, and that's okay. For an internal website or an intranet, as you will, you really don't have to make it look flashy. If you want to, you can create something pretty amazing. And let's take a look at that. We're going to jump back into here and we're going to learn that with SharePoint, there's actually 2 different kinds of websites. The first one, if I click over here, I'm going to create a site. You'll see I've got 2 different options right there. The first one is going to be called a team site. And a team site is what you might think of it. It's a website that is for a group, or as we showed over here in this example, a team website connected to a Microsoft team. So this is the first option here. What we're going to look at today, let me turn off my notifications. What we're going to look at today is something called a communication site, okay? And so over here, we're going to click on the communication site. Now, with this communication site, we are going to choose from a variety of topics. Let's see. Topic here, showcase, or let's see, we're going to do blank. I'm going to do showcase because it's got some templates involved with this. Now I'm going to say my NCCE SharePoint site. And notice automatically as it's doing that, it's creating a URL for myself based off of the SharePoint site URL. And I could also have my site description. I can also select the language. I love that Microsoft makes everything as multilingual as possible. So if I wanted to, I can always edit what this looks like. Not going to worry about that right here. I'm going to hit finish, and it's going to create my site. Okay. Over here, I now have a basic SharePoint communication site. Clearly, you can see there's a difference between this with all the pictures, and we'll talk about what all that stuff means, and this section right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip here 1 second, and there we go. Had to turn off a webinar I was just in working with my school, kind of double multitasking today. So over here, I have my site. Now let's talk a little bit about what's happened so far. Up on the top left, it has the name, my NCCE SharePoint site. I've got home. I've got my documents. Remember on the team site, the menu was kind of on the top left. Here, everything's kind of horizontal. Here's pages. We only have one so far. And I've got site contents, which is like everything else that's in the SharePoint site. But I'm going to come back over here to home. And what I want to do is I want to create something pretty neat. I want to create some web information here. I'm going to click over here under Edit. Okay. And the first thing, it's going to go into our editor. And everything here is revolved around these little pieces of content that we call web parts. WEB parts, web parts. And a web part could be text boxes. A web part could be a calendar, a document library, you name it. There's a lot of different parts to it here. This here is a web part in a row. So just like a Google site, it's got rows, it's got different sections to it. I'm going to click on this pencil, and over here you can see this is information about the web part. So here I've got a web part that's actually, it says 3 layers. You can see I've got 1 row, 2 row, 3 row. This is actually one big web part. If I said 1 row, then I would have this. If I said 2 rows, then it gives me this. And you can see in here I've got picture and I've got text. All right. So different things that I can do. What I want to show you right now is how easy it is. Let's hit delete. And you can see right under here, I've got an image gallery where I can choose pictures from. And if I want, I can make comments turn on and off on my page. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to actually, let's see what I want to do. I want to, let's get rid of this here. I'm going to click on the delete button. And basically what I want to show you right now is how to do this from scratch. So right now I've got a blank SharePoint website page. And Mike, if there's any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask any questions here.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because we do have a question in the chat real quick. Question for Jeff. Can SharePoint be used to create a site for communication with families?
Good question. And
From
thank you for setting me up for that, Dr. Dunbar. I believe, to the best of my knowledge, the answer is no. SharePoint websites are internal only. I believe as of very recent, Microsoft even made the decision to keep it as a safe intranet thing. In my district, most of our teachers use Google Sites as their teacher website. And our hope was that we could teach them how to do SharePoint sites. Now, right away, you might be able to look at this and go, well, Google Sites look so much easier than this. And yes, that's true. Would I be asking teachers to create a SharePoint site as their parent-friendly website? No, because the only way that a parent would be able to see that website is through their kids' login information. Right. We might end up doing a Sway instead of a SharePoint site because many reasons, right? Mostly templates and stuff like that. So that's a good question, Tammy. Thank you for asking. We miss you. And so yeah, this is internal intranet only. And by the way, if you're looking for more information on this, lots of great podcasts out there. There's one called, I think it's like the Intranet Zone or something like that. Lots of good stuff. So let's build a site really, really quickly. I'm going to click over here on the plus, and I'm going to add a section. Now, I've got a bunch of different things. I'm going to add a vertical section here. And you notice that puts this little web part here. And now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on here. And let's say I'm going to add a hero. Let's see. Maybe I spelled this wrong. Let's see. I want a hero. Good. So now I've got this information here. All right. And over here, if I select a link, I'll do this really quickly. I can do a stock image. I'll put this in here. This will pop up and you get the idea. I can do 3 or 4 of these. I can do 5 of these. I can select a link. I can go to stock image. I'll put this here. And these aren't necessarily blog posts up here on this hero image site. I would look at these more as like static news posts. This can be linked to many different things. Over here, if I do, I like to put the weather app up here. So weather, and under weather location, I need like a weather place, Mantika. There you go. Tammy, how do you spell Manteca? There we go. I'm going to say, what's the weather in Manteca, California? It's a great place to be. I heard they have some really good 5th grade teachers. So I have the weather app here. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to add a filing cabinet here. So I'm going to come down here to, let's see, calendar highlights. I can add a form. We can do that. Let's do that. Let's going to add a form onto this. And if I want, I can add an existing form. Let's just see. I want to do this really, really quickly because I know we've got time. Bottom line, you can add a form there. Other things that we can do, we're going to add a row here. I want to add a 3-column row. And over here, I can do YouTube, right? So I can add a video onto this. I can also add a link to a page. I can also embed things. I can do events. Right? So here are some events I've got, and you can see here, it's very easy to start building a page, creating a page. If I want to come over to this section, I can change the color really quickly. I can do a bunch of things if I come over to this row here. Let's see, I've got all this here. So you can see very, very easy to start building SharePoint pages. You might see the words, or you might hear the words modern SharePoint pages versus classic SharePoint. I don't know the exact date, but SharePoint did go through a major facelift in the last 1 year, 2 years, something like that, before I got into SharePoint. But everything right now you're going to be hearing is modern SharePoint. Okay, so the question is really, what can you do with this? What should you be doing with this? How do you work with this? Can this be like a teacher website? Can I be creating lessons on this? Technically, yes. You can create some really cool lessons with this. One of the things that I'm going to make sure that we put the links to, and I'll make sure we have that over here in the chat, is a website called the Sharepoint Lookbook. Now, I got a lot of information for this over on TeacherCast, and we're going to be tweeting it out here. But if you just go to lookbook.microsoft.com, this is actually a really, really nice website that shows off different things that you can do with SharePoint, and it gives you a whole bunch of different options, ideas that you can have. So, for instance, this one here is a template. You can click on the button. If you are an administrator, if you're a SharePoint admin, you can take this and you can download this into your tenant, and you can make this available as a template for your teachers. You'll notice this one here. We've got a nice banner up on top. We've got that hero image we were building. We've got some news items. We've got a Yammer communication here. We've got a nice stream video. We've got some news. We've got a calendar. As you can see, SharePoint looks pretty nice when you put just a little bit of work into it. Over here is another example, kind of similar. This one here again has that long column on the right side. You've got your news posts. You've got some videos. And the neat part about SharePoint, checking the time, is that you can totally customize this for the user. So you can actually say these news posts will only be seen by people in a certain team. So the way I have it worked out is I have my news posts on my building's intranet set up. So that way, if I'm in the STEM team and the STEM supervisor makes a news item in her team, I see it. If I'm not a STEM teacher, I don't see that. So I'm completely organizing things based off the user, and I'll show you guys that in just a second. You can see here a couple more answers. This looks a little bit different. We're going to have, again, our hero image, some of the tasks, images here, calendar, people, especially with an organization. This will actually tap into your directory, your Active Directory, and it'll actually pull up people's names, their photos, all that different stuff. So you can really make this look nice and available and professional. This one's the same, a big hero image. This is a call to action. You've got some different time zones, and you can see here, you've got Yammer and Twitter and a few other things. So as you guys can see, very, very easy to create these things and to have it making look nice. Now, if we have other questions, I'll take them, because I'm really excited about something else that's really made it possible recently, and it really is going to be awesome for education. Holly, Mike, do we have any quick questions, or do you want me to move on?
Hey, you know what? I'm just super excited. I'm soaking up in all this information. Why don't you go ahead and share what you're super excited about, and then we'll have a few extra questions at the end.
So here's the question, Holly, right? We're all in professional development. We're all working with teachers. We're all creating this. The idea of an intranet is two things: communication and professional learning. There is a brand new feature of SharePoint that just came out recently. It was in beta over the summertime. I was gushing over it, and now it's available. I am so thrilled that we're going to be using it in our school district, and that's called Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways.
Write that down.
What a learning pathway is a specific SharePoint website. You go to the lookbook, you download it. But what this does is it gives you an entire learning management backend for creating module-based professional trainings. And the best part is it's free and constantly updated and goes directly into the belly of Microsoft. I'll show you exactly what I mean. This is the site that you download from the lookbook. I'm going to click over here on training, and this gives me a page for Microsoft 365 training. You'll notice here, it gives me a bunch of icons. This is actually going into Microsoft's headquarters and is actually showing off the latest and the greatest trainings for each of these applications. Give you an example. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, I want to learn all about OneNote. I don't know anything about it. How do I do this? Well, by coming over here, I'm going to click on OneNote, and then this automatically pops up. Notice the page didn't move. It's all within the page. I now have 8 learning modules that I have, and I can link this to something. I can zoom in if I want, but I'm going to choose over here, Intro to OneNote. I'm now going to click on this, and again, page hasn't moved. Great for mobile devices. But now this is pulling up a video. What is OneNote? And again, these are those 90-second awesome videos that Microsoft puts out. And I have a transcript and I have some information. Great. I want to come over here and I want to start using OneNote. I have another video. I did not create this. This is all pulling directly from Microsoft. And if Microsoft updates this content, your website gets updated. How would you like to have Microsoft being your webmaster? This is an awesome way to do that. I can now come over here and say scenarios. Okay, I want to learn how to work remotely. Great. Well, now I've got 2 modules here. And you might be thinking, so? Well, here's the cool part. All I have to do is I'm going to come on over here and I'm going to click on the we're going to click on the admin pages. And let's see, where did I put those admin pages? Admin Success Center. If I click on the Admin Success Center, I can now come back in here and there you go, the administration spots. I can take all of those icons, all of those modules, and number one, I can turn them on or off. So if I'm not using Access, I don't have to show that to my teachers. If I want to move things around, I can. But here's the cool thing. Over here, we've got a playlist called First Days, Recommended, and I got one called Demo. I can actually make a playlist of all of these Microsoft modules and put it all together. Let's say that it's a Monday meeting and I want to do this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. I can put those all in a playlist and share them out on SharePoint. See what I did there? Also, I can create my own brand new playlists. One of the things that we're working on in my district, and this is the fun, crazy way that we are, we're actually using this plugin to create modules for all the Google applications. So on our Microsoft SharePoint site, we're training people on Google using this. Now, that's really cool. I'm excited about this. I'm going to show you this in action here as I keep looking at the clock. But one of the things we're looking at doing this is saying, all right, well, I already have an intranet page. Why do I need a second intranet page? And so I want to show you a couple things over here. This is a template that we're looking to do with my school district. You can see here on the right side, we have our weather, we have documents, we have Teams activities. These are things that are personal to my account. If Holly was looking at this, she'd have a different way of looking at this. I'm going to then show you now and I don't want to scroll down because it's school stuff, but if I click on our digital learning website, you'll see here that on our digital learning website, we've put just the applications that we're going to be working on in our district with our teachers. And we're creating many, many more of these as the year goes through. But again, we want to learn how to do Teams. I click on Teams and it opens up all of these videos. I can talk about setting up and attending live events. And here it is. I don't have to do much work. All I had to do is to hit the button and it installed automatically. And this was so quick, so easy to do. I love this stuff. And you can see over here on our SharePoint page, we have a link to a teacher help desk, also in Teams. And then also we've embedded our Microsoft form. So that way, if anybody has a question, they can reach out and it comes right into my email box and we can help out our teachers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As you can see, guys, SharePoint is amazing. And we didn't even hit half the stuff I wanted to talk about today, because maybe we'll come back some other time and we'll talk about things like Microsoft lists. That's really cool. You can learn how to make some pretty cool spreadsheets, some pretty cool lists of things. Here's one we made of all these educational podcasters, and I'm still working on this one, of course. But as you can see, there's a lot of things that you can do with SharePoint, and all it takes is just a little bit of imagination. By the way, no coding available. Anybody can do this. A teacher cast Jeff NCCE show would not be the same without me mentioning the triplets. Yes, I have my 7-year-old making SharePoint websites. It is that easy. So if you have any questions about that, check out all the great resources over on the TeacherCast Educational Network. If you are looking at building up your Microsoft isms this year, head on over to education.microsoft.com. Lots of great stuff in here. Become an MIE. Take the 2 courses, get your 1,000 points. In the Education Center, right on the front page, is a fantastic course called SharePoint in the Classroom. When you open this up, it's a 1-hour course, talks about the relationship between SharePoint and Teams, but you know that already now. Talks about how to do SharePoint pages, but you know that right now already. How to use lists or Microsoft Lists, which we just heard about, and also how to use SharePoint document libraries, which is something a little bit more out of what we had the time for today. But as you can see, there's a lot of great reasons to start looking at SharePoint. It is that foundation from which Microsoft Teams is built on. And I got to tell you, I didn't know any of this stuff at the beginning of the summer. And by the end of the summer, it was like a couple hours of playing around with it. And it just became really easy for me. And next thing you know, you're out there, you're building your staff intranet, you're putting all these things together, you're putting your school building intranet together. And you know what? If you have any questions about this stuff, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can always find me online at TeacherCast, and would love to work with you guys and help you out. And Holly, I got to say, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited because of the great stuff that's happening at NCCE. Don't forget to check them out over at ncce.org. Lots of great things happening over there. Lots of great online courses happening over there. And don't forget that they've got their conference coming up in just a few weeks. Check it out today over at ncce.org.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. Wow. I was giving you my first grade. Oh, see, it's W. Wow. So much great information. Thank you so much. We did have a question inside the chat about, as a newbie, I mean, my gosh, you shared so many amazing, great ideas. As a newbie to use SharePoint, where should they start?
Just play with it. You know, what I did here was I created a SharePoint site. Like, again, here I am in Teams, right? We've all seen this. If I click on the General tab and I come over to here, it says Open in SharePoint. Okay. Well, again, I've got General, Ask the Tech Coach, blogs, business, etc. If I open this up, what do I see? This is SharePoint. This is the back end. So my recommendation is create a new SharePoint site. All right, I can come over here to SharePoint. I see this screen. It might be a little intimidating, but that's okay. I can create a new site, and that is essentially a hard drive. A team is a SharePoint site. So maybe let's back up a little bit, and I would say create a team that you can play with, right? So for instance, I have one that's called podcast planning. I have one for school that's just called My Demo, and you can't hurt anything. Just create a site and run with it, right? If you break it, it's so what? You break it, you mess with something. There's a whole back end to this. There's an admin section. So you may be able to do more or less things than the next person, all depending on when. I know some of our teachers that we know, they're not allowed to create their sites because their admin controls who makes the teams. And in some school districts, you might have it set up so your admin only makes the teams, which means you might not be able to do some of the things that we're talking about today. But, have a conversation with your admin, maybe.
And that was actually a question I was wondering too, because I know district to district's different about creating teams and things. But going with the learning paths, do you have to have admin access to?
Yes.
Okay.
So the learning paths come from that lookbook, and the only people that can download the lookbook is your SharePoint admin.
Okay. All right, cool. But I mean, definitely reach out if you don't know who that person is. Email around, ask your admin, and if this sounds like something that you're really interested in, be sure to reach out. I mean, they can only say no, right? But I doubt they will. I think everyone is super excited about the Learning Path, SharePoint. What an amazing, amazing week or session. So thank you so much, Jeff, for going through all that with us.
And thank you for being here. And please, again, reach out on TeacherCast. Would love to work with you guys. And I know I'm looking forward to participating in the NCCE conference coming up, and looking forward to seeing everybody there. Did I mention there's an NCCE conference?
Yes. And it's in March, mid-March. So super excited. Go to that website, check it out, register. A lot of great things and a lot of amazing people are there. And it's just great to find that PLN, right? That Professional Learning Network. Yep. And we hope to see you guys next week. We will be here again, 4 p.m. or 7 p.m., depending on where you are on the coast and throughout the country. But we'll be with Aaron, and he'll be going through some more amazing stuff with us. Oh, we're going.